Hey guys, it's Cameroon and welcome back to another video. Now I had some time to cool off after the news for Overwatch 2 PvE, and it's time to talk about pick'ems again. Even with the recent news, I still love watching the Overwatch League, and that isn't going to change unless they cancel that too. Now, if you don't know what this video is about or haven't watched my Week 3 predictions one, I basically go over the current Overwatch League week and give my predictions plus explaining why I made them. Now this one will be slightly different since the East is going into the knockout stage, so I'll more than likely just go over who I'm going to pick for the whole bracket, with less explaining for the East. The West is still in their round robin, so that won't change when it comes to giving my predictions. I would also like to mention that my West picks have actually been quite good. The East region, on the other hand, is incredibly inconsistent, and honestly anything can happen in that region. Like, Fuel decided to get good again, and now I'll have a harder time predicting, just letting you know in advance. Also, if you don't have a lot of time to listen to me explain everything, I'll have a chapter in the video where you can just skip ahead to see my pick'ems. All I ask is maybe leave a like on the video, and if you want more, subscribing too is really appreciated. And please note, my predictions are still predictions and I could be wrong. If you need assistance predicting matches, this video can help, but if you believe a different team will win, choose them instead. There's also no token matches this time around, which is kinda sad. I don't know if they're gone for good, and it's a little sketchy with them just magically disappearing like that. I'll keep an eye out during this weekend to at least make sure we're still getting the 5 tokens per hour. If we're not getting them, you can definitely expect another video from me. Now, let's get into week 4 of the Overwatch League season. We'll start with the West first, since their structure is still the same as last week. Okay, the first match we have for Friday is going to be the Las Vegas Eternal versus Boston Uprising. Now, if you know the rule when it comes to Overwatch League, if it's a team versus Las Vegas Eternal, you usually bet against them. So Boston Uprising is most likely going to win this 3-0. The next match, though, we have is Vancouver Titans versus London Spitfire. Now, the Titans just beat Boston Uprising, and London Spitfire lost against Boston Uprising. I think I'm going to give Vancouver the win and say it was 3-2. It's going to be a close battle. That's my guess. And then for the last match on Friday, we have the Los Angeles Valiant versus the Toronto Defiant. Now, the Los Angeles Valiant haven't been playing that well until recently they played against the Mayhem and made it a 5-map series. They almost won. So with that in mind and the fact that Toronto didn't beat Mayhem and got less wins, I'm still going to give Toronto Defiant the win, and I'm going to say it's 3-2. Then on Saturday, we have the Las Vegas Eternal versus the Los Angeles Gladiators. Again, same rule applies. The Gladiators are going to win 3-0. Then we have a double points match, which is the San Francisco Shock versus the Houston Outlaws. I'm sorry, San Francisco Shock. You've been playing kind of badly lately. Yes, you won your match against New York Excelsior, but they almost won too. So I'm going to give Houston Outlaws 3-0. And then we have the Toronto Defiant versus the Boston Uprising. Now, Boston is still a very strong team, even with the loss to Vancouver Titans. I see them beating Toronto Defiant 3-1. And then on the last day, Sunday, we have Vancouver Titans versus Los Angeles Gladiators. I see the Glads winning this 3-1. There's not really much to say. It's just they have Kevster. Kevster is an awesome DPS, and with Tracer being in the meta, of course, they are favored to win. Even though Sugar Free is a very good player, though, regardless. And Aspire. Can't forget about Aspire. Then we have London Spitfire versus the Houston Outlaws. I'm sorry, Spitfire, but guys don't stand a chance. Right now, Houston Outlaws and Atlanta Reign are just kind of dominating. So I'm going to give Houston Outlaws 3-0. And then the last match for the West region is the Los Angeles Valiant versus the San Francisco Shock. Now, I hate rooting against the Shock, and I'm not going to, but I feel like I'm going to be let down with their performance regardless. I see them winning 3-2 against the Valiant, but like that shouldn't happen. They should win 3-0. But the way they've been playing, I've mentioned it before, they haven't been playing well together. Okay, now we're going to move on to the East Knockout Stage games. I'm going to handle this portion a little differently, where I'm going to display the whole bracket and go through it kind of quickly because it's quite confusing if I was to break it up into multiple sections. So as you can see on the screen right now, we have the Spring Knockouts East A section, and I'm going to go through that first, and then we'll go down to the East B. So the first match we have are a couple of contenders teams, the Dreamers versus Pokerface Gaming. I believe the Dreamers are going to win, let's say 3-1. Then we have the Challenger Rose versus Seoul Dynasty. Basic rule of thumb is most cases, the Overwatch League team should beat the contenders team. So I'm going to say Seoul Dynasty wins 3-1 just because they lost against Dallas Fuel. Then we have Guangzhou Charge versus the Dreamers. Guangzhou Charge is going to win 3-0. And then we have Hangzhou Spark versus Seoul Dynasty. Seoul Dynasty is going to lose 3-1. Then we have the winners round on 3. Guangzhou Charge is going to win 3-1. Then we have Pokerface Gaming versus Seoul Dynasty. Dynasty will win. Let's say 3-0 for this one. Then we have the Dreamers versus the Rhodes. I know that the Dreamers are a fairly good team, so let's just say it's a 5-map banger and go with the Dreamers winning 3-2. Then we have Seoul Dynasty versus the Dreamers. I'm sorry, Dreamers, but I'm going to have to give it to Seoul Dynasty, 3-1. Then the Dynasty will face the Hangzhou Spark again, where Hangzhou Spark will win. This time I think it's going to be a little closer since Seoul Dynasty is on the kind of a winning streak in the lower bracket, so I'll give it 3-2. And then lastly, we have the Guangzhou Charge versus the Hunger Spark, where Guangzhou will win 4-2. Now let's move on to the Spring Knockouts East B section. And we have Panthera versus O2 Blast. O2 Blast is a very good contenders team. I see them just dominating the field when it comes to facing other contenders teams. Again, go with the same rule of thumb. The Shanghai Dragons should beat the contenders team. I'm going to say it's 3-1 since they haven't been performing the best. Seoul Inferno, on the other hand, has been playing very good. So I'm going to go with 3-1 against O2 Blast. And then the Fuel should beat the Shanghai Dragons 3-0 clean. Then we have Panthera versus Shanghai Dragons. I believe Shanghai will beat Panthera. Let's say 3-1. And then O2 Blast will beat Sinpresa Gaming. I've seen them play. SPG is actually fairly decent, so I'm going to say 3-1. Now we have the Seoul Inferno versus the Dallas Fuel. I believe Seoul Inferno will win. I'm going to say 3-1. Then we have Shanghai Dragons versus O2 Blast. This is going to be the strangest thing I've ever said, but I believe O2 Blast is going to win at 3-2. I know it sounds crazy, but I know O2 Blast is really good, and Shanghai Dragons hasn't been performing the best. Then, of course, we have O2 Blast versus the Dallas Fuel. Dallas Fuel will win pretty convincingly, I think. I'm going to say they drop a map, though. And then lastly, for the finals on the Section B, it'll be the Seoul Inferno versus Dallas Fuel, where the Seoul Inferno will win 4-3. This is going to be a 7-map banger, because I'm seeing Dallas Fuel in these finals. They're going to be popping off. But the Seoul Inferno just seems really strong, especially with MN3 and Zest. So, yes, that is my East Section pickups for this week. And here are my complete pick'ems for week 4 of the Overwatch League season. Hopefully my picks made sense, especially in the West, and maybe even helped you choose yours. Now, when we're talking about the East region, it's extremely unpredictable, so I apologize in advance if a contenders team just decides to destroy an OWL team, because you can never be too sure when it comes to the East right now. And also, I know that the East is a little bit more confusing when it comes to the bracket. Remember, you cannot change your predictions when you submit them. So the moment you press Save Predictions, your bracket is locked in and you can't make any more changes. Anyways, if you liked the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And yeah, enjoy watching the Overwatch League this weekend. And I will talk to you all later.